Any kind of promotion of hatred and of the Nazi time is banned. So you can't wear the swastika, you can't wear the SS insignia. You know that rock band Kiss, they have to change their logo when they come to Germany because it looks a bit like the SS, but it's not. I mean, they're Jewish, so they're definitely not Nazis. And you can't do the Sieg Heil salute, you can't deny the Holocaust in public, it could give you prison or a hefty fine. All these symbols is kind of glorifying that time, and they just terrified it's going to happen again. There were 200,000 prisoners here. We estimate that about 50,000 were killed here. And after the Nazi time, the Soviets took over the camp, and then you had another 60,000, and at least 12,000 of them were killed here because they found a massive pit just at the top of the triangle with all these bodies thrown into it. Nazis were doing experiments on people. They were treating them like lab rats, and they were cutting them open and sort of putting rusty nails in the open wounds to see what kind of infection that would bring to. They were injecting them hepatitis to see what kind of effect it would have, and people died, but it took weeks or months to die, and then they would just store the corpses in a pathology lab and do dissections. And personally, I think this is the worst place in the whole camp. Isaac Palple. He was here from 1942 to 1945, but he'd been to several camps before that. He was arrested first time in 1938. That's when they really started to round up all the Jews. You would have thought something like this would break him down, but in a way he's such a strong person, so it had made him stronger, and he said, like, I want to tell everyone what happened so they will know it did happen. I mean, he saw his father being kicked to death in front of his eyes at Buchenwald Concentration Camp, and his mother and sister were shot in front of his eyes in Riga. And I mean, he was crying when he told me this, and it was just so moving just for him to tell me all this. But then it was also so moving that he was so forgiving, that he didn't say all Germans are Nazis and this is an evil place or something. I mean, he stayed here, and he even became friends with his SS officer that was in charge of the counterfeiting operation. The NPD party, which is the far-right party, Nationalpartei Deutschland, it doesn't sound too different from Nationalsozialistische Arbeiterpartei Deutschland, which was the Nazis. They managed to get into the local council, and you see them around here on the streets all the time. They wear this brand of clothing, Torsteiner. They are really aggressive. I've had people shouting Sieg Heil. We just had a European election, and all these representatives for the far right, these kind of intolerant parties, they all come into the parliament now, in the European Parliament, and it really scares me. When I lived in London, I had a really nice boss, and when I told him I was going to Berlin, he said, "Oh great, I love Hitler." And I thought he was joking. But he wasn't. He was completely serious. He said, like, oh, who cares about the Jews? They just made it up to get their own state and things like this. It just makes me feel sick to my stomach. And that is why I think people should come here to realize that this is what intolerance leads to. And maybe we should try and get on with each other.